I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about my ex hates my guts. Well, a lot of people that are going through a breakup really feel like their ex hates them. And it's totally understandable because a lot of times your ex is hurt and angry. Maybe they feel slighted. Maybe you did do something that really hurt them in the relationship, like lied or cheated or something along those lines. And people can get really angry and resentful. And especially around that breakup time, they're going to be really emotionally charged. There's so much hurt there that it does lead to a lot of anger and a lot of lashing out because they want to hurt you like you hurt them. Like we say all the time, hurt people hurt people. So I see a lot of people coming to me and they say to me, I feel like my ex hates me. Now, there are times where it does happen, but for the most part, I really don't think, in most cases, your ex truly does hate you. Even if you did wrong them, depending upon how severe it was, they often can be angry and charged, emotionally charged for a while, but it doesn't really mean that they hate you. And sometimes at the time of the breakup, they might even say that they hate you, but oftentimes they don't really mean that. They're just feeling so angry in that moment. But if you keep pushing them, they're going to be a lot more likely to continue to say things like that. If you leave them alone and give them space to cool off, calm down, reflect on things, process things, they're often going to reach out and be a lot more calm about the situation. So, guys, I know you're often scared that your ex hates your guts, but they usually don't. In most cases, they don't. And the interesting thing is, a lot of times the dumper thinks that you hate them. In fact, many of you guys watching this video right now have exes that think that you, the dumpees, hate them for what they've done. And you don't hate them, obviously. You are trying to repair things. But they get scared that you hate them, just like you get scared that they hate you. So I've got a good email coaching today from a couple in their early 30s. Now, let's just say they work in the law enforcement area. I won't get into specifics, but they both started this relationship as an emotional affair. Okay, so this was about a year ago when they were both married to other people. Now they work together. So they go on to say, we both had issues in our marriages. Obviously, right? If you're feeling disconnected from your partners and it's not working out, you can't figure out how to repair those things. A lot of times people look for an emotional affair. So those are one of the things that you really have to think about. Like, do you really want to go down that road, or would it be better for you to, figure out if you can fix it or walk away? Because if you have the emotional affair, it's often going to lead to bad things. Okay? I can tell you I've been doing this for a long time, and when you start off in these kind of situations, it usually ends poorly. Okay, so he said, we invested time in each other and ended up falling in love. And can I just say, guys, it's so easy to do that. He's at home miserable. She's at home miserable. They have these fun, playful interactions, but they can't spend too much time together because they're both in relationships. And so it's easy to fantasize about how great the other person is without truly knowing them. You don't see their issues. You don't see, their values yet. It's a fantasy, okay? So it takes time to really get to know somebody. He says, we broke things off knowing our relationship had become inappropriate. Okay, so they ended the emotional affair. That's good. It's better to handle it like that and figure out what you're going to do with your respective partners because they are both married. Ended up being incredibly hard for both of us and led both of us to get divorces. Okay? That's something you have to figure out, and it does take time to work through a divorce. If you're going through a divorce, I highly recommend you check out my workbooks and my creative healing course. It's really going to help you process things. It's really going to help you work through that. They're very therapeutic. Many people tell me that they get more out of the creative healing course than they've gotten from years of therapy. And believe me, as a therapist, I'm not knocking therapy. It's just that we spent so much time creating a course that would be extremely therapeutic and helpful for people in a breakup. All right, let's move on here. She reached out to me early this year after about 3 months of no contact with each other. She explained her marriage wasn't working and she wanted to pursue me. I didn't tell her I had already began seeing another coworker for about a month. We're gonna call that woman Marcy. So the new woman is Marcy, and the first woman he quote-unquote fell in love with was Elaine. All right, so this is gonna get complicated because he's going through a divorce. He was seeing one coworker now, and he was supposedly in love with her, but now he's seeing another coworker after a couple months later. It's like 2 months later, right? But it was, let's see, they hadn't talked in 3 months, and now he's been dating this woman for 1 month. So he only waited a month after that other emotional affair to start dating someone else. I mean, that's not healthy, okay? This is not healthy behavior. He's using people as a crutch here. And he doesn't see that, but I talked a lot about that in my email coaching to him. I didn't tell her I had already been seeing another coworker for about a month. I was still in love with Elaine, the first woman, not the wife. The wife would be the first woman. The second woman, that's Elaine. And I wasn't in love with Marcy, the one he's been dating for a month. Okay? Elaine and I would only speak once every couple of weeks where she would give me updates regarding her divorce process. During these conversations, no topic would go untouched. We talked about getting married. I don't even think this guy's gotten his divorce signed yet. Having kids. How our affair created this weird form of trust between the two of us. We wanted the whole future together. You are rushing this, okay? You are fantasizing about this situation, and this is not healthy. You're not even divorced from your wife yet. Then you start dating one woman and have an emotional affair with her. You decide to end it, which was probably the healthiest thing to do. But then you don't talk for 3 months and you're already been dating somebody else for another month. Okay, so what do you guys think his attachment style is? Think about it as we go through this one. Okay. In April of this year, I told her I was actually seeing Marcy. So he did come clean. Okay, so Marcy's the third one, remember? Elaine is the middle one, and we don't know the name of the wife. Elaine was upset. Of course she's gonna be upset. This guy is talking to her about marriage, kids, this weird form of trust they have, having a future together, yet he's dating somebody else already. They'd only stopped talking for a month when he started dating her, right? Was it about a month? Am I doing my math right here? Because there were 3 months of no contact, and he had already been dating her. Oh, so maybe it was 2 months. Okay, but 1 or 2 months. But you're saying to somebody, I want to marry you and have a future with you and kids with you, but you're quick to start dating somebody else. It's really hard to believe that. It doesn't line up. I ended up breaking things off with Marcy. I told Elaine I broke things off and we were back on track. Now remember, Elaine is still married herself and hasn't even gone through a divorce yet. So that is going to take her time to get through that. But then I thought, Elaine and I are only talking once every few weeks while she's going through her divorce, and Marcy is here with me now. So me and Marcy continue seeing each other with the understanding we both didn't want relationships, just the easy and fun stuff. Marcy also was fresh out of a relationship. Oh my goodness. Guys, this is not healthy for you to do. You want to process your breakup. You got to heal from your breakup. All of these people are coming out of relationships. Okay? We've got Elaine, Marcy, him. One is still married getting divorced. He's still getting divorced. Then this other woman is just out of a relationship. They're all using each other in an unhealthy way because they're scared to be alone. And these kind of patterns you have to break for yourselves because problems arise from situations like this, as you're going to see. By June, me and Elaine were texting every day, talking, FaceTiming for hours at night, and seeing each other in person on the weekends. Marcy was still in the picture, but we were talking and hanging out less. Okay, now listen, at least Marcy and you were on the same page that it's just going to be fun and there's not going to be any kind of, commitment there. But does Elaine know about any of this? Probably not. It got to a point where Marcy realized she was ready for a relationship with me, but knew I didn't want that. So she decided to walk away before she got too hurt. Probably a smart thing for Marcy, because you really want to be with Elaine. Marcy ended things with me, and it turned out to be more difficult than I imagined. This is what I say. He thinks he's going to be okay without Marcy. He thinks he wants to be with Elaine. Meanwhile, he's still not even divorced yet, or if he has, it's just been finalized, but it didn't sound like it was, right? And now he's surprised that the breakup is affecting him so much with Marcy. I was more emotionally attached to Marcy than I thought I was. I was sad over Marcy, but I still knew Elaine was my end goal. Unfortunately, because I hated feeling sad about Marcy, I threw a Band-Aid on my feelings by inviting Marcy over. So you can't stand the thought of being alone, so you invite poor Marcy over, who's already getting attached to you and knows that you really want to be with Elaine, so now you're going to make it harder for Marcy because you don't want to struggle and go through any of this pain by yourself. We had drinks and a good time. She posted the drinks on her Instagram. What could go wrong? Elaine saw this post and recognized my arm and my kitchen. And don't think for 1 second that she didn't do that on purpose. Marcy absolutely posted that on purpose so people would see it. And guess what? Elaine did. When Elaine confronted me about it, I lied. Can you see how this is not going anywhere healthy? All of these unhealthy behaviors aren't going to put yourself in a situation for a healthy relationship. I could see Elaine knew the truth by her face and the reaction. So I just came clean and I told her I'd been seeing both of them for the past few months. She was hurt and upset. I had Marcy come over and came clean to her as well. Marcy was heartbroken. Okay, so now everybody's hurting. What do I say? Hurt people, hurt people. So at this point, Marcy's hurting, he's hurting, Elaine's hurting, his wife is probably hurting, the one he's divorcing. These aren't good, healthy situations to put yourself in. The next few days I spent explaining to Elaine how she was always my first choice, but she was in the middle of a divorce, so I held on to Marcy as a placeholder, ouch, till she was ready. Sounds effed up, but it's true. Yeah, well, it is effed up because it's selfish. Marcy told you she wanted something more, and instead of just letting her go, you didn't want to let her go and make it so she could heal and move forward. You had to selfishly keep her, like you've done with Elaine. This is all very selfish behavior. And what do I tell you guys? Anxiety makes us very self-absorbed and selfish. This is what happens if you don't heal your attachment issues. Go watch my video, The Real Reason Relationships Fail. I put it out many, many years ago, but once I started understanding this stuff years ago, like a decade ago at this point, I really was able to put these things together on why people do the things that they do. And this is part of that. Both girls now know Elaine was my end goal. Marcy and I are on good terms. Elaine pretty much hates my guts. Well, she's definitely hurt and angry at you. I don't know if she hates you, but I'm sure she doesn't trust you. And what have you done for her to trust you? I mean, you have come clean a little bit here and there, so I will give you some credit for that. But ultimately, you were playing both of these women because you were scared to be alone. You were only giving them half-truths. You weren't allowing them to make their decisions based on the full truth. That was the selfish part. Had you been very honest and clean to both of them about the situation, and you said, hey, look, you're still getting divorced, so I want to date other people until you're ready to be, committed. And then he said to Marcy, look, I'm really interested in somebody else, so I'd like this to be very casual. I want to be upfront with this. From the get-go, then both of these women wouldn't be so hurt and so angry because at least they knew what they were getting themselves into. I've been in no contact with Elaine for 3 weeks now. I've heard she's still angry with me. Can I salvage this? I want to be with her. Okay, well, look. It's going to take some time for Elaine to calm down. She has every right to be hurt. She has every right to be angry. Wouldn't you if you were in her shoes? But at the same time, she's still not divorced. And even if she was divorced, she's not likely ready for a new relationship. Maybe something casual, but not talking about marriage and kids and all those things after dating for only a few months. Actually, it was only an emotional affair for a few months. So none of this is healthy for any of you, okay? You guys have to process this, heal this, get to a good place, and start fresh. I don't think Elaine is going to be ready for anything serious anytime soon. And so if she does come back, I think you both need to be very casual about this and say, look, you're just getting divorced. I'm just getting divorced. We need to, let's go out and have fun, but not put any expectations and pressure on each other because that's where it's going to fall apart. He's got to learn to communicate better. He needs to learn to be alone and by himself and, not let his anxiety override healthy decisions, okay? That's what happens with attachment trauma. This is why I created the Creative Healing course, to really work through this stuff. So you become aware of these things and you become more confident, because this is what it's really about, is confidence, right? Like if he was more confident within himself, he wouldn't be using these women to overcome a failed marriage. And he needs to figure out what happened in that marriage that it didn't work. And don't just blame the wife, okay? If he's watching this video right now, if you're watching this video right now and you're blaming your wife for your marriage failing, I can tell you, just by your behavior with these two women, you better look in the mirror. Because your behavior alone with these two women is showing a lot of selfishness and a lot of immaturity. And I'm not trying to beat you up here, because these are blind spots for you and you have to fix these things. If I don't tell you these things, you're not going to see them. You're going to continue to do them. Sometimes these kind of things hurt to hear. They sting and it hurts your ego. Maybe you're embarrassed. You don't want to hear it. But I'm not telling you to hurt you. I'm telling you because you have to grow. You have to act like an adult. And none of this was adult behavior. And it's not just on you, okay? It was on the woman, Elaine, who's also married, for having an emotional affair. It's on Marcy for going through a breakup and kind of using you as well. So it's not just him in this situation, but you really have to reflect, grow, and get to a good place so you can start a relationship in a healthy way. And the fact that you're talking about marriage and kids with somebody that you'd only been having an emotional affair with for a few months, that's very telling. Okay, that's about your abandonment issues. That's not what healthy people do. Healthy people slowly get to know each other and see if you're a good fit. But this is that fantasy that so many people get addicted to. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't learn to break this pattern, you're going to live these cycles over and over again and wonder why you keep going through a breakup. So this is the stuff that you got to work on. I know it hurts to hear this. I'm sure some of this really stung. But sometimes we need a little of that just so we wake up. And so we take a step back and really say to ourselves, what am I doing here? He's right. This doesn't look good. This looks really bad for me to do. I was hurting people. I was being selfish. And I want to be kind and caring and loving to the people that I want in my life, not, just using them for support during a difficult time. So hopefully he continues to learn from this. Hopefully you guys aren't too rough in the comments section, because many of you will find your own behaviors in the situation like this. They may not be as extreme, but if you look at yourself, you probably did a lot of those things yourself in smaller ways. Okay? So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. My creative healing course, it's truly amazing. You can only get on my website. My workbooks, absolutely incredible. I would never put out something that I didn't really absolutely believe would change your life. They will if you commit to it 30 minutes a day. I promise you, you'll see such growth within yourself. And you'll feel more confident, which is what I want for you guys. Because regardless if your ex comes back, you always want to put yourself in a much better position than when you were before the breakup. Okay? So that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.